What if I told you the best way to predict NBA success isn't just highlights or hype, it's the numbers behind the numbers? Welcome to the Resource Nexus, where we cut through the noise with adjusted efficiency ratings, pace-neutral stats, and match-up adjusted metrics that actually tell the story. Today we're diving into our latest prospect rankings, breaking down who's standing out by the numbers, who might be overrated, and who the models say is built for the next level. You can find the full article over at the resourcenexus.com, and I've linked it in the episode description if you want to follow along. Alright, let's dive into my personal draft board for the 2025 NBA draft. Now let me be clear, this isn't a mock draft, and it's not swayed by consensus rankings or public opinion. Those rankings, all based on my own evaluation of each player's statistical output. Yes, that's a statistical value in college. I also factor in age, size, and athleticism, which are crucial. Now here's the thing about younger players. They're often more valuable when you're projecting future impact, especially when their production holds up against older competition. That's the philosophy this system reflects. Age isn't just a footnote. It's a major part of the equation. Think about it. A 19-year-old has 3 more years to develop compared to a 23-year-old. Even if the 23-year-old is more advanced, that built-in potential in the younger player has value. But of course, there are moments in the draft when the value of a known commodity outweighs hoping a player reaches their potential. It's that classic upside versus floor debate. And honestly, it's all about how you view these guys. Let's be real, though. There are plenty of busts in the top 4 picks every year. So sometimes taking a bird in the hand is the better play, especially if you're a championship contender in need of cheap, reliable players who can step in immediately under the new CBA. You'll notice a few names high on my board that probably won't show up in most mocks. That's intentional. A few years ago, we had Zach Edey as a first-rounder when others barely had him cracking the second round. Just goes to show things can shake out differently than the crowd thinks. Wings, they're still top priority because of their modern versatility. But every ranking here is a balance of statistical floor, developmental ceiling, and strategic risk. Bigs are valuable too, but they need to be efficient. Think easy dunks, high true shooting percentages, rim protection. Otherwise, they don't even get a seat at the table. Now, with only 30 teams pulling from players aged 20 to 35 from all around the globe, those 60 to 80 spots, yeah, they're pretty saturated. It's harder to find skilled 6'8" or 6'9" wings that can handle the ball, pass, shoot, and defend at the level required in the NBA. One last thing, this board is about how I would approach the draft, not how I think it's going to unfold. Honestly, who cares what mistakes teams make? They make them every year. I'm not a mind reader. I can't predict the crazy moves they'll pull. And even with millions of dollars at stake and hundreds of draft experts out there, busts still happen. So at the end of the day, trust your evaluations. One Cooper Flagg, Duke. At just 18.5 years old, Cooper Flagg has already turned in one of the most statistically impressive freshman seasons we've seen. He graded out with a 6.8 in our all-in-one model, which adjusts for pace, strength of schedule, and role. On paper, that stacks up favorably. But, and it's a big but, he played primarily as a power forward at Duke, and that came against the 55th ranked strength of schedule. That's something a lot of people overlook when they evaluate his numbers. Not that he can't slide over to the wing and have success in the NBA, but context matters. Physically, Flagg has made real strides. He added about 15 pounds of muscle during the season and posted a 35-inch vertical. That's a strong indicator that his frame is still maturing and that his athleticism has even more to unlock. His shooting, it became more reliable as the year went on. But let's be real. The ACC last year played more like a mid-major conference. That weak competition level opens the door for some skepticism. Flagg entered ACC play with a true shooting percentage of just .505. Now defensively, his feel remains a clear strength. He wasn't quite the dominant disruptor some expected out of the gate, but his rebounding and ball handling versatility at 6'9" give him a rare two-way floor. especially for someone his age. He did, in a lot of ways, exceed expectations. Whether he becomes a number one option or ends up a high-level complementary star is still up in the air, but that margin might be smaller than people think. His trajectory is pointing straight up. He's shown the adaptability and motor that NBA teams crave. And look, you absolutely have to take him first in this class. Team fit, Dallas Mavericks. We can go ahead and talk about it because it's obvious. He's going to Dallas, landing the top pick with just 1.8% odds. That radically reshapes the Mavericks' outlook. With Luka Doncic gone and Kyrie Irving and Anthony Davis entering their twilight years, Dallas needed talent. And more importantly, they needed someone on the right timeline. Flag gives them both. This is a total get-out-of-jail-free card for Nico. Given Kyrie's injury history, Flag might see more primary on-ball reps than anyone expected, which could actually accelerate his development as a creator. His ability to contribute right away, especially with his size, feel, and defensive upside, gives Dallas a legit core piece to build around. Whether he becomes their long-term number one guy or the second best player on a championship team, Cooper Flag completely alters the course of this franchise. To Dylan Harper, Rutgers. At 19.3 years old, Dylan Harper brings a rare blend of size. He's 6'6", along with poise and multi-level scoring ability. With a 5.5 rating in our model, he sits comfortably near the top of this class. What really stands out is his versatility and his ability to create off the dribble. Harper has a natural feel for pace. He knows how to find angles, create space, and make plays, whether he's scoring or setting others up. Now, Rutgers as a team didn't exactly light the world on fire, but Harper's impact was clear. He carried a heavy offensive load, yet still managed to show off polished decision-making, a soft touch, and a willingness to absorb contact. Those are all traits that translate well at the pro level, especially when the playoffs start to get physical. Defensively, he's not elite just yet, but the instincts are there and he's got the frame. Plus, his bloodlines don't hurt. His father was a respected NBA defender well into his 30s. It's easy to see Harper evolving into a solid two-way contributor. Team fit, San Antonio Spurs. The Spurs already have two rising stars in Victor Wembanyama and Stephon Castle. And now, thanks to a big move up the board, they got a rare shot to add another foundational piece. Yeah, there might be some positional overlap between Harper and Castle, but Harper's offensive polish and half-court creation address a real need. Right now, San Antonio lacks consistent perimeter scoring and playmaking. Harper helps solve that. There's even been some buzz that another team might try to trade up and snag him, but let's be honest. Passing on Harper would be a tough sell for San Antonio. Even if the fit isn't perfect on paper, his upside and adaptability make him a compelling option in any modern backcourt, especially alongside a generational talent like Wemby. Or, hey, maybe they make a move for the freak that is Greek in Milwaukee. Just throwing it out there. That's 3VJ Edgecombe, Baylor. At 6'5" and 19.8 years old, VJ Edgecombe is one of the best athletes in the class, and he's already an elite perimeter defender. He averaged 2.5 steals and a block per game, using his quick hands and explosive burst to constantly pressure guards and wings. He's one of the top defensive playmakers available. Our model agrees. He rated higher than Harper with a 5.7 metric. Offensively, it's still a work in progress. Edgecombe has shown he can attack closeouts and finish through contact, but his half-court scoring is inconsistent, and his off-the-dribble creation isn't quite there yet. That said, there's been steady development in his handle, body control, and perimeter shooting. If that upward trend continues, he could elevate his offensive ceiling in a big way. Even though he's a little older than some of the other top prospects, at 19.8, Edgecombe still has significant growth potential. His physical foundation, his motor on defense, and those high-end athletic traits, they're already NBA ready. Ranked number 4, Ace Bailey from Rutgers, standing at 6 feet 9 inches. Ace Bailey brings rare physical tools and explosive athleticism to the table. His combination of size and bounce makes him a seriously intriguing prospect. Even though his college production was a little inconsistent, he dealt with a mid-season injury that really limited his impact early on. But when he was healthy, Bailey flashed the kind of scoring upside that scouts dream about. Now, his assist numbers? Yeah, not great. He's still got a ways to go as a decision maker and ball handler, but you can't ignore his raw potential, especially when you watch him finish in transition or just explode at the rim with authority. The all-around game, though, still needs work. His perimeter shooting and defensive awareness definitely need refinement. At just 18.9 years old, he's far from a finished product. But the upside is there. He's one of the youngest players in this draft, and that does matter. He rated out with a 4.6, which is respectable. That said, the lack of success at Rutgers does raise some eyebrows. Still, he could be a long-term replacement for Paul George and maybe become the guy they hoped he'd be. Someone who grows alongside Maxey. Ranked number 5, Kaman Maluak from Duke. This 7'2" center has the physical tools to be a serious problem in the NBA. Height, mobility, shot blocking. He checks a lot of defensive boxes. Yeah, big men aren't always in vogue in today's game, but Maluak's youth and potential as a rim protector make him a tempting roll of the dice. I'm still pretty high on what he showed in the African Pro League, which, by the way, had a ton of former college stars still in their prime. He averaged 19 points and 14 boards, and he knocked down a solid number of threes, enough that he had more freedom and usage than he did during his lone year at Duke. He's only 18.8 years old. One of the youngest prospects in the class, he had a clearly defined position and role, and he still rated out with an impressive 5.1. There's a lot to like here. Ranked number 6, Jeremiah Fears from Oklahoma. At 6 feet 4 inches, Fears already plays with the poise of a veteran, and he's just 18.7 years old. He can score, and he does it efficiently with a 56% true shooting mark. That three-point shot, still a work in progress, but, and this is key, he shoots 85% from the free throw line. That usually signals shooting touches in there. It just needs to translate out to distance. Fears is definitely a name to keep your eye on as his game continues to evolve. There's risk here with the lack of shooting, but also serious upside when you factor in the age and scoring ability. He rated out well analytically with a 4.8, number 7, Johnson from Texas. At 6'6", Trey Johnson is a natural scorer, a certified offensive machine who knocked down nearly 40% of his threes on solid volume. The jumper is real. The question is, what else does he bring to the table? Can he defend? Can he rebound? Can he facilitate? And his scoring alone will keep him in the NBA conversation, but if he doesn't expand the other parts of his game, his long-term value might be limited. At 19.3 years old, he's still young, and his 4.3 rating shows there's a decent foundation there. 8, Con from Duke. He's 6'7" and 19.9 years old, a little older than people might think. New Apple's calling card is his elite shooting and high basketball IQ. He knows how to play, no question, but the concern is athleticism. At times he looks rushed or overwhelmed by quicker defenders. The big question is whether that shooting can hold up under NBA pressure. Still, with a 4.7 rating and a skill that clearly travels, has a value. He produced, and he shot the hell out of it. 9, Kasparis Jakučionis from Illinois. A 6'6" on-ball guard with size, poise, and passing chops. He didn't shoot it great, but the feel and IQ are there. At 19.1 years old and a 4.3 rating, Jakučionis isn't the flashiest prospect, but his floor might be higher than most. Size plus playmaking always gives you a chance. Maybe not the highest ceiling in the class, but a solid bet to carve out a real NBA role. Number 10, Thomas Sorber from Georgetown. At 6'10", Sorber is a strong, physical presence who made real noise as a freshman. He's a shot blocker, has a soft touch around the rim, and his free throw shooting at 73% suggests there's 3-point upside down the road. At 19.5 years old, Sorber surprised a lot of people, though not me. I had him rated as the number 4 freshman coming in. He averaged 2.4 assists, 2.0 blocks, and again, that's 73% from the line. He plays smart, defends, and finishes. He earned his 4.5 rating. 11. Colin Murray Boyles from South Carolina. This 6'8" forward just turned 20, and he thrives off motor and effort. The shot still needs work, the handle too, but he's productive, really productive, and you never have to question the energy. There are size concerns for his position and shooting concerns in general, but the work ethic and toughness are there. He rated out as a 6.5, one of the best marks among all freshmen. Number 12, Asa Newell from Georgia. At 6 feet 11 inches and 19.7 years old, Newell is a high upside big with real tools. He's athletic, he's fluid, and he's starting to show signs of a jump shot. The rim protection still needs polish. He's not quite the shot blocker you'd hope at his size, but the physical profile and offensive versatility make him an intriguing long-term project. He earned a 5.9 rating, still raw, but definitely one to watch. 13, Jace Richardson from Michigan State. He's a 6'1" guard and the son of former NBA All-Star Jason Richardson. The problem is he came in small in the combine. At 19.7 years old, Jace is a lights-out shooter, and he does a little bit of everything well. Nothing flashy, just steady, consistent play on both ends. That high floor makes him one of the safer guard bets in the draft. He comes in with a 4.8 rating. Number 14, Derek Queen from Maryland. A 6'10" big man at 20.5 years old. Queen is polished, he's physical, he can score and pass, but the defensive metrics, underwhelming. His shot blocking hasn't matched the expectations for his frame, and he's older than a lot of guys in this class. Still, he's smart and versatile. There's a pathway to being a quality NBA role player if he continues to refine that end of the floor. He rated out with a solid 5.3. 15, Will Riley from Illinois at 6 feet 8 inches. Riley's had kind of an up and down start to his college career, but long term, still very much an intriguing prospect. His skills right now are fairly average across the board, nothing that really jumps off the page, but when you factor in his size and physical tools, there's a solid foundation to work with. If he develops the right mindset and becomes a little more assertive, there's a path for him to carve out a role down the line. Versatility and length will always have value. He rated out with a 4.1. 16, LeBron Philon from Alabama, standing at 6 feet 4 and 19.6 years old. Philon is a crafty scorer and one of the better facilitators in this class. He gets to the basket, he creates for others. There's real playmaking juice here, but the shooting, still pretty rough. That said, with a player efficiency rating of 22, there's definitely something here. If the shooting ever comes around, he could be a major steal. His rating, a solid 4.6. 17, Igor Demon from BYU at 6 feet 9 inches and 19.2 years old. Demon stands out for one thing. His playmaking, 6 assists per game at his size. That's impressive, but the rest of the stat line, kind of underwhelming. His scoring and rebounding numbers don't really pop, and the shooting isn't there yet. Still, the elite passing is real. To stick in the league, though, he's going to need to become a much more well-rounded player, and he rated out with a 3.5. 18, Joan Behringer from Cedevita Olimpija in Slovenia. This 7-footer is just 18 and a half years old, and while he's still raw, the upside is hard to ignore. He's mobile, he's got soft touch, and when you put that together at that size, yeah, we're talking potential here. But he's not there yet. Behringer's going to need time to refine the skills, and time to adjust to the higher level of competition. No official rating on him yet, but definitely a name to watch. 19, Liam McNeely from UConn at 6 feet 7 and 19.5 years old. McNeely is a Swiss Army knife type of wing, does a little bit of everything. Scoring, defense, passing, He's got good instincts on both ends. What really stands out, though, is his defensive potential, especially his ability to rack up steals and create chaos. He's the kind of two-way guy that fits just about anywhere. His rating came in at 3.4. And finally, of the main guys, number 20, John I. Broome from Auburn. This dude has been a force. At 6 feet 10 and 22.9 years old, Broome is one of the oldest highly ranked prospects in the class, but he is the most productive. He averaged double-digit points and rebounds in the SEC, no small feat. In fact, this was versus one of the best strength of schedules ever. He did it hurt or limited much of the season, too. His mobility, physicality, and ability to defend make him a plug-and-play big. Now, the age might limit the ceiling projection a bit, but the floor, very high. He's ready to contribute right away. He rated out with a strong 8.4. All right, that wraps up our breakdown of the top 20 prospects in this year's draft class. If you want to see how the rest of the top 50 stacks up, plus in-depth stats, ratings, and more analysis, head over to the resourcenexus.com. I've also dropped the direct link in the episode description so it's easy to find. Alright, that's a wrap for today. Thanks for tuning in. Hope you got some good insights. If you enjoyed the episode, be sure to like, subscribe, and share it with anyone who'd find it useful. And don't forget to check out the resourcenexus.com for more in-depth analysis. Until next time, check you later.
Cool. Guess we'll see you around.
All right, check you later.
Bye.
Wait, man, why are you always such a dork, man?
What are you talking
Check
about?
you later. Check you later.